Good day, students. I hope you're having an amazing day. Today, we will learn about Module 3, Lesson 1. At the end of this recorded discussion, I want you to answer the following questions. What are the functions of communication and why is this important in our daily lives? So make sure you have your pen and paper ready for note-taking. But before we begin, let's have first a recap on what we have discussed in the previous lesson. Can you remember the 5 communication models that we mentioned? Okay, so we have the Aristotle model, the Shannon-Weaver model, the Scrums model, Berlos model, and lastly, we have the transaction model of communication. Now, moving on to Module 3, Lesson 1, I will be reading some statements and try to figure out the reason of the speaker in saying these statements or those statements. Okay, let's start. Here's the first one. Unmute your microphone. Speak louder. What is the purpose of the speaker in saying this? What about how are you? What have you been doing lately? What do you think or why do you think someone would say that to us? Next, there are moments when people tell us, you can do it. I believe in you. So what's their reason for telling us that? Okay. Or if you're listening to everything I am saying right now, what do you think is my purpose? Or when I say I am very grateful for the chance to educate despite the pandemic. What do you think is my purpose in saying that? So now, why are we talking about these things? Because aside from the elements present in the communication process and different communication models that we have discussed, we have to consider that people communicate for a variety of reasons. It is determined by the speaker's intent or the ultimate goal for which he or she initiates communication. Again, we say a lot of things to different people for a reason. And these reasons and purposes are what we call the functions of communication. Communication functions pertain to the use of language or to the use of language for various purposes. There are 5 basic functions such as control, social interaction, motivation, information dissemination, and emotional expression. So let's go over each function one by one. Let's start with the first one, the control or regulation. It is a communication function which ideally used to control behavior. So we use this function when we aim to regulate or control the behavior of a person or a group of people. So this could also be delivered in forms of instructions, requests, or command. To control means to regulate one's behavior. Therefore, when someone or somebody tells you to speak louder, basically the person wants you to perform the said act, which is to unmute your microphone and speak louder. Another example is this, boss to the secretary. I would like you to make sure that 2019 minutes of meeting be furnished before the General Assembly. So using communication to regulate or control means you use the language to manage an individual or group as per the boss to his secretary. Next function is social interaction. It is the communication function that allows individuals to interact with others. It is also used to produce and develop social relationships. So one of our many reasons why we communicate is to connect with others or even with ourselves. Social interaction makes it possible for us to reach out. So this is also used to, again, to produce and develop social relationship. What else? It is used to develop strong bonds, intimacy, friendship, or any relationship developed out of reaching out with other people. The simple hi or hello starts communication. It builds connection. And also when we ask, how are you to our friends or to someone? Another example is a friend to another friend. What can you say about Mark and Steph's engagement? We use it every day when we hold conversations with our friends or classmates. The third function is motivation. As the term implies, it is when your main purpose of communication is to give support or encourage people to live better. It enables us to motivate or to inspire people to live better lives. So that is the function of communication. Simple words like you can do it, I believe in you, I am proud of you would mean a lot to someone who was on the verge of giving up. This communication functions allows us as the speaker to lighten one's load or even to enlighten one's spirit to move forward and to have a better life. An example of this is when teacher to her when the teacher to her student Grace says this, Grace, you are an excellent communicator. Just do your best in overcoming your fear of the crowd. So that is motivation. Next is information dissemination. Grammatically known as declaratives, it is the communication function that focuses in conveying information. So aside from conveying or disseminating facts or data, this function also allows us to evaluate or to have an evaluation of the information that we can consider in making decisions. Example is when the teacher is discussing the lesson or having lectures, diba? His or her main goal is to inform the student about the topic. So that is information dissemination. Then we have another example here. The district school supervisor to teachers. My dear teachers, your monetary donations for the COVID-19 frontliners have already reached 28,200 pesos as of today. So the supervisor announced about the monetary donations to teachers. Lastly, we have emotional expression. It is the communication function which facilitates the expression of one's feelings and emotion. We express our emotions, be it love or hatred, joy, sorrow. We express it differently depending on how emotionally close we are to the person or to the receivers. Example is this, mother to son, Jude, I am really upset with your misbehavior. So the mother expresses frustration or disappointment. So that is emotional expression. Again, these are the functions of communication. We have control, social interaction, motivation, emotional expression, and information dissemination. Okay, remember that these five may overlap one another from time to time. That's why it's important to take note of the nature of the person talking and consider the tone of his or her voice. And that ends our lesson today. Please do not forget to comment your answers to these questions. What are the functions of communication and why is this important in our daily lives? Again, please type your comment or your answers in the comment section. Okay, for activity 3, this will be posted as assignment in our Edmodo class. So the direction is here. Let's have a song playlist. Imagine you're on a road trip and you're listening to 5 songs on your phone. Complete the table below with songs that have lines that use communication functions. Specify the title, singers, and lyrics of the song. It could be Filipino or English, and then write them on the space provided. Okay? So this task or this activity is equivalent to um, 35 points, 2 points for each title of song and artist, and then 5 points for the lyrics of the song. Your task is to look for a song that would fit the 5 functions of communication. Okay, so I will be checking your assessment task on October 1, 2021. Again, thank you for listening. I hope you had a wonderful time, students. See you next time for lesson number 2. Stay safe and keep on learning.